Hello friends, I'm Anurag Pathak. So today in this session, we're going to analyze UPSC Mains General Studies paper, especially the paper 3. Now, we'll take up this question first. The question says that faster economic growth requires increased share of manufacturing sector in GDP, particularly of MSMEs. Comment on this, comment on the present policies of the government in this regard. Now, this question seems or appear very simple, but when you look at with a careful mind, you'll find the keyword is very difficult to identify. So where do we have the keyword for this question? Keyword in the sense like what point we need to highlight most of the time. So it is in this regard. And that in this regard implies that we need to give the value to faster economic growth and increased share of the manufacturing sector in the GDP with reference to the current government policies on MSME. Now, when we are writing a 150-word answer, this is my advice, and in last videos also you can get a hint that mostly I do what I prefer to tell students and like advise students to make a blueprint of an answer before writing an answer. So if 150 words question is there, so what will be the nature of the blueprint? Either you are writing in a paragraph wise or the point wise, this will going to fit in both scenario. So if you're writing in a paragraph point wise, if you're writing in a point wise, you need to develop in a macro heading. So in 150 words, you at most you can do what you can develop in a 5 macro headings. So these boxes represents the 5 macro headings. If you're writing in a paragraph, you can write in a 5 distinct paragraphs. So we have the paragraph 1, paragraph 2. This is the blueprint for the box represent the blueprint. Then paragraph 3 and paragraph 4, and the final 5th paragraph is in a conclusion paragraph. Conclusion. So conclusion is a mandatory. Why? Because I have heard that UPSC allocate 40% marks, especially in the conclusion, because it is a conclusion which decides and defines whether you have the decision-making power. So conclusion is a very important. We need to take due care of the conclusion. Now let us see. This is only the framework for the blueprint. We'll see what content we need to derive and like add to these boxes. So normally when you going to take a help of some chatbot or we will ask some students, so they have I have noticed that they have failed to understand the question's demand, and that is why they are writing simply these list of the MSMEs programs initiated and started by the current government, and in that way they are writing in a Make in India and Samadhan and Samban. Even if you are going to search in internet, you'll find these lists will open up. And if you're writing these list of things within their description and all, you'll get in a very average marks. Now, what actually required to write? Now, what you need to do, you have to pick up some of the important, because 150 word is a very limited space we have. So you have to pick up some of the important schemes, like I have taken this Make in India initiatives. Now, what do you need to do? You have to make a small, like a hint about its objective, and then here the impact assessment. Now, impact assessment is your comment actually. You have to tell like how this Make in India help increasing the GDP by attracting the FDI, how it help in gaining the share in GDP, what it did within a job creation, how it helped in global partnership. You have to make some positive impact, and then you have to make some critic comment about this Make in India. You have to tell, yes, some increment achievement is there, but it mostly failed to achieve its desired goal. Now, this is my opinion. What do you think about, what do you feel about the Make in India? You have to write there. So opinion is in a very free space. All of us are like free to write our point of view there in this comment. So you have to make one critic comment, minute comment. You have to justify also why this program got failed. It is because of the bureaucratic control on this system, then red tapeism, so much procedures to follow. There is issues with the land acquisition and all. So you have to justify critic comment means it do not only required to tell the failure points, we have to justify why they have failed. Then we have another program is a production linked incentives, PLI scheme. There also you have to give some initial hint about the objectives, its impact assessment, and then moment the impact assessment starts, you start making your comment. So you have to make that how it helps in adding the competitiveness in the manufacturing sector, then how it helped in attracting the global players. And in fact, it really helped in diversifying the manufacturing sector, especially in MSMEs. So you have to tell these all, and then you have to make a critic comment. Critic means minute assessment. There you have to tell, though it is in a somehow out of all these schemes, is one of these successful scheme, and in some corner it is very successful, and then you have to make a further point that the still some potentials are still to unleash, and that is going to depend on how the government will going to allocate fund, how government is going to involve within this process, and also you have to make an alert certain things there in this comment. So comment is what is required in this question. So question is an opinionated question. You like the question demand your opinion, your point of view. So in that way, you can have a space to write an Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. And again, we have the objective, impact assessment, and your critic comment here. So in that way, you can manage 2-3 paragraph. Now we have the 4 paragraph is there. So we have a list of, we have many MSME programs which are untouched if we can manage, and we can write in that way. So in that way, what to do? I am having one idea that you can have a space, a chance also to write as in a miscellaneous paragraph in the 4th paragraph, and there you can club 4-5 Mudra scheme, then MSME Udyam registration, Samadhan, Sambandh. So you can club it within their objectives, and you can jointly make a criticism about these 4-5 programs. So in that way, you can be having all those 4 boxes done. Now the conclusion is very important. In conclusion, we write something visionary, futuristic, and we do not summarize actually. So I have collected on some of the point here. You have to tell that yes, so far it is a nice initiative of the government, but like there are some shortcomings which once rectify, manufacturing sector in India itself has an all potential to be replicate what we have with the China. So you have to tell such like a hint here. You have to make some point of view so that we can have entrepreneurship can going to be in a major going to contribute there in the MSME, so that India can have a chance to accelerate its growth, improve the shares of manufacturing there in the GDP. So if you are writing in this all way, so suppose one question is there, and if you have the 4 boxes there, we have the 4 boxes this side, and the 5th one is for the conclusion. Conclusion is your vision about, need to write your vision how MSME will help India to become the superpower in coming years. Now we have economic superpower. Now you have the 4 paragraphs here. So you have to give a 1-line intro. In intro, you have to establish a relationship between MSMEs and their share and the growth rate. You have to growth rate issues. So share in GDP and their growth rate. You have to establish a relation. So how these are very much important. You have to justify or authenticate this relationship. And then because we have the 4 paragraph is there, you can write the Make in India related initiatives here. Make in India. And you can write its impact, and its criticism, critic comment. Then here you have a space to write the things related to the PLI, its impact assessment, and then we have the one genuine comment, how it is successful and how it is not. So sometimes you need to be positive, sometimes you need to be like little more critic. You have a space to justify by telling a negative also, but you have to give the solution also. Then we have an Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, and then their impact. their impact and their comment. Impact and their comment. And then we have the miscellaneous one. Miscellaneous. Now, what is, and then miscellaneous, objective or impact, and then you need to write your comment here, comment. Now, on these paragraph, in these structure, if you write an answer, your answer will become very authentic, according to the demand of the question, very much prioritized, and in that way, you're going to justify the demand of the question. Now, what my understanding that in the most of the cases, the student failed to get the right sense of the question. So that is why I have collected the 4 or 5 related questions so that you can have your attempt to make a blueprint and write in one answer. So I am having this list of questions exactly the way we had that question. So sometimes you fail to get an understanding of the question, but like when you make a blueprint, write an answer, blueprint oriented answer, you'll be having a more chance to get a right answer. So my advice is, if possible, write an answer, put your answer in the comment box. I'm going to evaluate there itself. And if you have a problem writing a full answer there, at least give in a blueprint. Choose any question of your choice, give in a blueprint. So we're going to have an assessment evaluation right there. We're going to build in a one relationship with this question answer there in the comment box. So we have this much for this session. Thank you very much.